Life is a journey filled with connections, some that inspire, some that challenge, and some that teach us profound lessons. But what happens when a man and a woman choose not to contact each other? Is it a sign of strength or weakness, growth or distance? Today I want to take you on a journey of self-discovery, respect, and emotional balance. Sometimes silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of clarity. It is in these moments of separation that we often find our true selves. Whether it's a decision made out of love, pain, or self-respect, one thing remains certain: growth begins where unnecessary attachment ends. So let's explore the power of distance, the beauty of self-worth, and the wisdom hidden in silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools for gaining clarity in life, especially when it comes to relationships between a man and a woman. In a world filled with constant communication, instant messaging, and social media updates, the absence of contact can feel unnatural, even unsettling. However, within that silence lies a unique opportunity to understand oneself, the relationship, and the emotions involved. When two people cease communication, whether intentionally or due to circumstances, it forces them to reflect on their feelings, priorities, and personal growth. The absence of communication eliminates the external noise that often clouds judgment. When a man and a woman interact regularly, their emotions are constantly influenced by each conversation, text, or call. Small misunderstandings may escalate, words may be misinterpreted, and emotions may fluctuate based on immediate reactions rather than thoughtful reflections. When contact is removed, there is no longer an immediate response to every thought or feeling. This break allows both individuals to process their emotions independently, without external influence. It creates a space where true emotions surface, unfiltered by constant interaction. Silence also helps in distinguishing between temporary emotions and deeper, more meaningful feelings. Often people react to situations impulsively, saying things in the heat of the moment that they may not truly mean. When communication is paused, it provides time to reflect on whether their emotions were a reaction to the situation or a genuine expression of how they feel. This distinction is crucial in relationships, as it helps individuals understand whether their bond is based on momentary emotions or something more substantial. When a man and a woman stop communicating, they begin to see their true emotional attachment clearly. Are they missing the person because they truly value them, or is it just the habit of constant contact? Additionally, silence allows for self-awareness and personal growth. When people are constantly in touch, they may become overly dependent on each other for emotional support, validation, or even decision-making. This dependency can blur individual identities, making it difficult for each person to recognize their own needs, desires, and goals. By stepping away from communication, individuals have the opportunity to rediscover themselves. They begin to focus on their personal aspirations, hobbies, and self-improvement without being influenced by another person's presence. This self-awareness not only benefits them individually, but also strengthens their ability to contribute meaningfully to any relationship they choose to maintain in the future. Another critical aspect of silence is its role in providing perspective. When in constant contact, it is easy to become caught up in daily interactions, arguments, and emotional fluctuations without stepping back to see the bigger picture. Distance allows both individuals to assess the relationship objectively. They can evaluate whether the connection is genuinely healthy or if it is built on habits, expectations, or unresolved issues. With time apart, they may recognize patterns of toxicity, unfulfilled emotional needs, or even positive aspects of the relationship that were previously overlooked. This clarity helps in making informed decisions about whether to reconnect or move forward separately. Moreover, silence reveals the true nature of a relationship. When two people stop communicating, the way they respond to that silence speaks volumes about their feelings and priorities. If one person moves on effortlessly, it may indicate that the relationship was not as significant as it seemed. On the other hand, if both individuals find themselves genuinely missing each other in a meaningful way, it suggests a deeper connection. However, missing someone should not be mistaken for needing them out of habit. True clarity comes from understanding whether the absence highlights emotional growth or emotional dependence. The psychological impact of silence is also profound. When people are constantly engaged in communication, their minds are occupied with the expectations, responses, and emotional reactions tied to those interactions. When that communication stops, the brain is forced to process emotions differently. It creates a moment of introspection where individuals start questioning what truly matters to them. This psychological shift can be uncomfortable at first, as humans are naturally inclined toward social interaction. However, once the initial discomfort fades, silence can become a tool for emotional regulation and self-discovery. In relationships, silence can also be a test of emotional resilience. If a man and a woman are unable to handle a period of no contact without feeling anxious, insecure, or emotionally unstable, it may indicate unresolved emotional issues. Clarity emerges when individuals realize whether their emotions are driven by genuine care or by fear of being alone. This distinction is crucial in building healthy relationships, as it helps individuals approach connections from a place of confidence rather than insecurity. When two people can remain emotionally stable even in silence, it signifies that their bond, if it continues, will be based on emotional strength rather than fear of loss. Furthermore, silence can serve as a form of communication itself. When words fail or when constant conversations do not bring resolution, stepping back and allowing silence to take over can convey messages that words cannot. It can be an indication of self-respect, a need for space, or a way to evaluate priorities. Sometimes a person's absence speaks louder than their presence. The way one reacts to silence often reveals their emotional maturity and ability to handle relationships with depth and understanding. Social conditioning often makes people fear silence, associating it with distance, indifference, or rejection. However, when approached with the right mindset, silence can be one of the most valuable tools for understanding emotions, relationships, and personal growth. It is in those quiet moments that people hear their own thoughts more clearly, allowing them to make decisions that are aligned with their true feelings rather than external influences. Silence also provides an opportunity to reset emotional boundaries. In relationships where communication has become overwhelming or emotionally draining, taking a step back allows both individuals to reassess their limits. It creates a chance to set healthier boundaries moving forward, ensuring that future interactions are based on mutual respect rather than emotional exhaustion. In some cases, silence helps people realize what truly matters to them. When constant communication stops, it becomes evident whether the connection was genuine or merely a convenience. People start to appreciate the value of meaningful conversations rather than just habitual interactions. The absence of communication makes the heart and mind work harder to determine what is truly important, leading to more intentional and fulfilling relationships in the future. Silence also teaches patience, an essential quality in any meaningful connection. In an era of instant gratification, people expect immediate responses, quick resolutions, and constant engagement. However, true clarity often requires time. Sitting with emotions, processing thoughts, and allowing things to unfold naturally can lead to better decision-making. When a man and a woman do not contact each other, they learn the value of patience, whether in waiting for the right time to reconnect or in accepting the possibility that the connection may no longer serve their best interests. Additionally, when contact ceases, it allows individuals to break free from any emotional patterns that may have been controlling their interactions. Sometimes people fall into repetitive cycles of arguments, emotional dependency, or unhealthy attachments. By stepping away and embracing silence, they give themselves the chance to break free from those cycles and approach relationships with a fresh perspective. Silence also strengthens emotional independence. When two people constantly rely on each other for emotional validation, they may lose the ability to find fulfillment within themselves. When communication stops, individuals are forced to seek happiness, stability, and self-worth from within. This independence is crucial for maintaining healthy relationships, as it ensures that both individuals bring emotional wholeness to the connection rather than seeking completion through another person. Silence, when embraced with the right mindset, can be one of the greatest tools for self-discovery, emotional healing, and gaining clarity in relationships. It removes distractions, forces introspection, and reveals the truth about emotional attachments. It is not about creating distance for the sake of absence, but about allowing oneself the space to truly understand what matters. Self-worth is one of the most fundamental aspects of a person's identity, and it plays a crucial role in relationships. When a man and a woman interact, emotions often intertwine with attachment, expectations, and the need for validation. However, the true test of emotional strength comes when one must choose between self-worth and attachment. Many people unknowingly sacrifice their self-respect in the name of love, companionship, or familiarity, not realizing that true connection should never come at the cost of one's dignity. Attachment, when unhealthy, can lead to dependence. It creates a cycle where a person begins to rely on another for emotional validation, happiness, or even a sense of identity. This reliance can blur the lines between love and need, making it difficult to distinguish whether a relationship is built on genuine care or simply the fear of being alone. People often stay in situations that do not serve them, convincing themselves that holding on is a sign of love. However, true love never requires one to diminish their own value. Self-worth should always come first, as it forms the foundation for all healthy relationships. Many people mistake attachment for love, thinking that the more they hold on, the stronger the bond will be. But attachment without self-worth leads to an imbalanced relationship, where one person may feel emotionally drained, unappreciated, or even disrespected. When a man and a woman do not contact each other, it creates an opportunity to evaluate whether their relationship was based on genuine care or merely a habitual attachment. Distance reveals how much of the connection was rooted in emotional dependence rather than mutual respect. People often ignore red flags in relationships because of their emotional attachment. They tolerate behaviors they would never accept in other areas of life simply because they fear losing the connection. They overlook disrespect, inconsistency, or lack of effort, convincing themselves that love requires sacrifice. However, the most important sacrifice one can make is sacrificing anything that compromises self-respect. Love should uplift, not diminish. When a person chooses attachment over self-worth, they set a precedent that they are willing to accept less than they deserve. Boundaries are an essential part of self-worth. When attachment takes priority over self-respect, boundaries begin to fade. People allow behaviors they once considered unacceptable, hoping that their tolerance will eventually earn them love or commitment. But love should never be something one has to earn by enduring mistreatment or emotional neglect. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about ensuring that one's emotional well-being remains intact. When communication stops between a man and a woman, It is an opportunity to reassess those boundaries. Was the connection based on mutual respect, or did one person constantly have to compromise to keep the other around? True self-worth means recognizing that one's value is not dependent on another person's presence. Many people feel incomplete when they are not in a relationship or when someone they care about stops contacting them. They associate their worth with the level of attention, affection, or validation they receive from others. But self-worth is not something that fluctuates based on external factors. It is an internal foundation that should remain unshaken, regardless of who chooses to stay or leave. People with strong self-worth understand that their value is not determined by how much someone else needs them or wants them in their life. Attachment is often misunderstood as coldness or indifference, but in reality, it is a sign of emotional strength. Detaching from unhealthy attachments does not mean one does not care. It means they care enough about themselves to walk away from anything that does not honor their worth. Many people believe that letting go is a sign of weakness, when in fact, it is one of the greatest acts of self-respect. Clinging to something that is not meant to be only prolongs emotional suffering. When a man and a woman do not contact each other, it is a moment to reflect on whether their connection was truly adding value to their lives or simply filling a void. One of the most challenging aspects of prioritizing self-worth over attachment is overcoming the fear of loneliness. Many people hold on to relationships, friendships, or situations that no longer serve them because they are afraid of being alone. They equate solitude with emptiness, failing to realize that being alone is not the same as being lonely. In fact, the strongest people are those who have learned to enjoy their own company. When a person is comfortable being alone, they are less likely to settle for connections that do not align with their values and self-respect. Another important element of self-worth is knowing when to walk away. It is easy to stay in situations that feel familiar, even when they are not healthy. Many people convince themselves that if they try harder, give more, or compromise further, things will eventually improve. But real love does not require one to constantly prove their worth. The right people will recognize and appreciate value without needing endless sacrifices. Walking away is not an act of giving up. It is an act of choosing oneself over a situation that no longer nurtures growth or happiness. When a man and a woman do not contact each other, it is often a test of emotional resilience. It reveals how much a person depends on another for their sense of self-worth. If the absence of communication causes extreme distress, anxiety, or a feeling of emptiness, it is a sign that attachment has overshadowed self-respect. On the other hand, if a person can remain at peace and continue growing despite the lack of contact, it indicates a strong sense of self-worth. The ability to remain whole, regardless of who stays or leaves, is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. Respecting oneself also means refusing to chase or beg for attention. Many people feel the urge to reach out, explain themselves, or seek closure when communication stops. They believe that by doing so they can restore what was lost or gain the validation they seek. But a person with strong self-worth understands that they do not need to beg for clarity, affection, or respect. If something is meant to be, it will be, without the need for excessive effort to hold it together. The right connections are effortless in the sense that they do not require one to sacrifice their dignity. Choosing self-worth over attachment does not mean being emotionless or unkind. It simply means recognizing that true love, whether romantic or platonic, does not require one to compromise their self-respect. It is about understanding that no connection is worth losing oneself. The strongest relationships are those where both individuals respect and value themselves first, allowing them to bring their best selves to the connection. People who prioritize self-worth attract healthier relationships. When a person values themselves, they set a standard for how they expect to be treated. Others recognize this and respond accordingly. Someone who respects themselves will naturally draw people who also value and respect them. On the other hand, those who compromise their self-worth for attachment often find themselves in relationships where they are taken for granted. The energy one puts into the world is the energy they attract. When a man and a woman stop communicating, it is a moment to reflect on whether their connection was rooted in self-worth or attachment. If the relationship required one person to constantly compromise, prove their value, or endure emotional distress, then it was never built on genuine love and respect. Real love does not demand that one loses themselves to keep another person close. Healing is a process that requires time, space, and self-awareness. When a man and a woman stop contacting each other, the initial reaction is often discomfort, confusion, or even pain. However, what may seem like a loss is often an opportunity for growth and emotional healing. Distance creates a space for self-reflection, allowing both individuals to process their emotions without external influence. It is in this solitude that true healing begins. As people are forced to confront their feelings, understand their pain, and learn to move forward in a way that nurtures their well-being. The absence of communication eliminates the distractions that often prevent emotional healing. When two people remain in constant contact, they may suppress their true emotions, covering up unresolved issues with temporary moments of happiness or surface-level conversations. This continuous interaction can create a false sense of stability, making it difficult to address the deeper emotions that need attention. When contact is removed, there is no longer an immediate escape from these feelings. Instead of avoiding emotions, both individuals are given the space to fully experience them, understand their root causes, and begin the process of healing. One of the most important aspects of healing through distance is emotional detachment. Many people struggle with the idea of letting go, believing that holding on to a connection will eventually bring them closure or resolution. However, true healing does not come from clinging to something that no longer serves emotional well-being. It comes from allowing oneself to detach from the past, recognizing that not every connection is meant to last forever, and understanding that some distances are necessary for personal growth. When a man and a woman stop communicating, it is an opportunity to reassess whether their connection was truly beneficial or if it was preventing them from becoming the best version of themselves. Emotional wounds often take longer to heal when there is constant interaction with the source of pain. If a relationship or connection has caused emotional distress, remaining in contact can delay the healing process. Each interaction can reopen old wounds, making it difficult to fully move on. Distance provides the necessary time and space for these wounds to close. Just as the body needs rest to recover from physical injuries, the heart and mind need time away from emotional triggers to heal properly. The more time spent away from the source of pain, the easier it becomes to regain emotional balance and stability. Healing through distance also allows individuals to gain perspective on the relationship. When emotions are intense, it can be difficult to see things clearly. People often romanticize the past, focusing only on the good moments while ignoring the aspects of the relationship that were harmful or unfulfilling. Without contact, emotions gradually settle and a clearer picture begins to emerge. It becomes easier to recognize unhealthy patterns, personal mistakes, and areas that need growth. This newfound perspective is essential for future relationships as it prevents the repetition of past mistakes and encourages healthier emotional choices. During the healing process, individuals often experience a range of emotions, including sadness, anger, nostalgia, and even relief. These emotions are all part of the journey, and each serves a purpose. Sadness allows for the acknowledgement of loss. Anger highlights areas where boundaries were crossed. Nostalgia reminds of valuable experiences. And relief signals the beginning of freedom from emotional burden. Allowing oneself to fully experience these emotions without suppressing them is key to the healing process. When a man and a woman stop communicating, the emotions that surface are indicators of what needs to be healed. Avoiding or denying these feelings only prolongs the pain, whereas facing them head-on allows for true healing. One of the greatest benefits of healing through distance is the opportunity for self-discovery. When people are deeply connected to someone, they often merge parts of their identity with that person. They adapt their routines, interests, and priorities to align with the relationship. While this is natural, it can sometimes lead to a loss of individuality. When communication ceases, there is a chance to reconnect with oneself, rediscover personal interests, and realign with individual goals. This process strengthens self-awareness and builds confidence, making it easier to enter future relationships from a place of wholeness rather than dependency. Healing also involves breaking emotional attachments that are no longer healthy. Many people remain emotionally tied to past relationships, even when they know deep down that the connection is not right for them. This attachment can manifest in thoughts, memories, or the hope that things will return to how they once were. However, healing requires the release of these emotional ties. Letting go does not mean forgetting or disregarding the past. It means accepting that it no longer defines the present. When a man and a woman stop contacting each other, it is a chance to sever these attachments and allow space for new experiences and connections. The process of healing through distance also strengthens emotional independence. Many people become accustomed to relying on another person for comfort, validation, or stability. While relationships can be a source of support, true emotional strength comes from within. When communication stops, individuals are forced to find inner strength rather than seeking it externally. This independence fosters resilience, ensuring that future relationships are built on a foundation of self-sufficiency rather than dependency. The ability to stand alone emotionally makes it easier to form healthy, balanced connections in the future. Another essential aspect of healing is forgiveness, both for oneself and for the other person. Holding on to resentment, guilt, or regret only prolongs emotional suffering. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harmful behavior or forgetting past experiences. It means releasing the emotional weight associated with them. It is a conscious choice to free oneself from negative emotions and move forward with peace. When a man and a woman stop communicating, it is an opportunity to reflect on the past with understanding rather than resentment. Forgiving oneself for mistakes and accepting the imperfections of the relationship allows for a lighter, more peaceful heart. Healing also involves creating new habits and routines. When a connection ends, there is often an emotional void that needs to be filled. Instead of dwelling on what was lost, focusing on personal growth and new experiences can be incredibly beneficial. Engaging in hobbies, pursuing new interests, and setting personal goals help shift the focus from the past to the present. These activities serve as reminders that life continues to move forward, and that happiness is not dependent on any single relationship. The more time and energy invested in self-improvement, the easier it becomes to move on without lingering emotional pain. A crucial part of healing through distance is learning to trust the process. Healing is not linear. It comes in waves. Some days will feel empowering, while others may bring moments of sadness or doubt. This fluctuation is normal, and embracing it rather than resisting it allows for smoother emotional recovery. Trusting that time and self-care will bring clarity and peace is essential in the healing journey. When a man and a woman stop communicating, it is important to remember that the emotions they experience are temporary, and with time they will settle into a place of understanding and acceptance. The process of healing also extends beyond personal growth. It prepares individuals for future relationships. Carrying unresolved emotional pain into new connections often leads to repeating old patterns. Taking the time to heal properly ensures that the next relationship is not built on past wounds, but rather on a fresh, healthy foundation. Emotional healing creates the space for new, fulfilling connections that align with one's true self and value. When a man and a woman stop contacting each other, it is not just about healing from that particular relationship, but about preparing for a future where emotional well-being takes priority. Healing through distance ultimately fosters emotional freedom. When a person fully processes their emotions, lets go of unhealthy attachments, and regains their sense of self, they become emotionally liberated. This freedom allows for greater happiness, stronger self-confidence, and deeper connections in the future. It removes the emotional weight of past experiences, making room for new opportunities and meaningful relationships. Healing is not about forgetting or erasing the past. It is about transforming pain into wisdom and allowing that wisdom to guide future choices. Growth is an inevitable outcome of change, especially when it comes to emotional experiences. When a man and a woman stop communicating, it creates a shift that forces both individuals to either resist or embrace personal development. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in moments of challenge, reflection, and transformation. The absence of contact allows both people to step back and evaluate not only their relationship, but also themselves. It is an opportunity to identify patterns, understand emotional triggers, and learn from past experiences in a way that fosters self-improvement. Every situation, no matter how painful or unexpected, carries lessons that contribute to personal evolution. When two people are constantly in touch, their emotional states can become intertwined, sometimes making it difficult to distinguish between personal feelings and the influence of another person. Distance creates the necessary space to regain clarity. It allows individuals to focus on their own thoughts, emotions, and desires without external interference. This process of self-examination leads to a deeper understanding of one's own needs, boundaries, and aspirations. Many times people get so caught up in relationships that they lose sight of who they are outside of them. Taking a step back offers the chance to reconnect with oneself on a profound level. One of the most significant aspects of personal growth is emotional maturity. When communication ceases, emotions can surface in unexpected ways. Some people may feel anger, sadness, or even relief. Others may struggle with unanswered questions or the urge to seek closure. However, true growth comes from learning how to manage these emotions in a healthy way. Instead of reacting impulsively or seeking external validation, emotionally mature individuals take responsibility for their feelings and find constructive ways to process them. They understand that growth is not about blaming others, but about recognizing their own role in every experience. Self-reflection is a crucial component of growth. Without distractions, individuals have the chance to analyze their past behavior, choices, and reactions. They can ask themselves important questions. What lessons can be learned from this experience? Were personal boundaries respected? Were there patterns of self-sabotage or emotional dependence? Answering these questions honestly allows for a deeper level of self-awareness. Many times, people repeat the same mistakes in different relationships because they never take the time to reflect on their past actions. When a man and a woman stop contacting each other, it provides an opportunity to break these cycles and adopt healthier approaches to relationships. Growth also involves developing independence. Many people become accustomed to relying on their partners for emotional support, decision-making, or even a sense of identity. When communication is suddenly removed, they may feel lost or unsure of how to navigate life without that constant presence. However, this discomfort is a necessary part of personal evolution. It pushes individuals to become self-sufficient, to rely on their own inner strength rather than external sources. Learning to stand alone, emotionally and mentally, is one of the greatest signs of personal growth. It ensures that future relationships are based on mutual support rather than dependency. Another critical aspect of growth is the ability to adapt. Life is constantly changing, and relationships are no exception. When two people stop communicating, they are faced with a choice: resist change and dwell in the past, or embrace change and use it as an opportunity to evolve. Those who grow from their experiences understand that nothing remains the same forever. They learn to accept the impermanence of relationships and find meaning in every transition. Adapting to change does not mean forgetting or disregarding the past. It means using it as a stepping stone for future progress. One of the most powerful forms of growth comes from shifting perspectives. When emotions are intense, it is easy to view situations through a narrow lens, focusing only on pain, disappointment, or resentment. However, true growth occurs when individuals step outside of their immediate emotions and see the bigger picture. They begin to understand that every experience, no matter how difficult, serves a purpose in shaping their journey. They recognize that people enter and exit their lives for a reason, and each interaction contributes to their personal and emotional development. Shifting perspectives allows for a greater sense of peace and acceptance. Personal growth also involves the development of patience. Many people seek immediate answers, closure, or resolution when communication stops. They want to know why things happened the way they did, what the other person is thinking, or whether there's still a chance for reconciliation. However, real growth comes from understanding that not everything needs to be resolved instantly. Some answers unfold over time, and some situations are best left as they are. Learning to be patient with the process, trusting that clarity will come when the time is right, is a sign of emotional strength and wisdom. Another key element of growth is learning to set and enforce boundaries. When a relationship ends or communication ceases, it often becomes clear where boundaries were lacking. People who struggle with setting limits may have tolerated behaviors that were not aligned with their values or self-respect. Distance provides the clarity needed to recognize these patterns and develop stronger boundaries moving forward. Establishing boundaries is not about pushing people away. It is about ensuring that future relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. It is about valuing oneself enough to refuse anything that compromises well-being. Self-love plays a fundamental role in personal growth. Many people seek love and validation from external sources, believing that their worth is dependent on how others perceive them. However, real growth comes from understanding that self-worth is not defined by anyone else. When communication stops between a man and a woman, it is an opportunity to nurture self-love in a way that is not influenced by external validation. Investing in self-care, pursuing passions, and embracing personal interests strengthen the foundation of self-worth. When a person learns to love themselves fully, they attract healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Growth also involves learning how to communicate more effectively. Many relationships suffer because of misunderstandings, unspoken expectations, or unresolved conflicts. When two people stop communicating, it provides a moment to reflect on past interactions. Were emotions expressed clearly? Were there assumptions made without clarification? Were important discussions avoided out of fear or discomfort? Taking responsibility for one's communication style allows for improvement in future interactions. Effective communication is a skill that contributes to stronger, more authentic connections. in all areas of life. Personal evolution often leads to the realization that not all connections are meant to last forever. Some people are placed in one's life for a season, to teach lessons or to serve as catalysts for growth. When communication ends, it does not always mean that something went wrong. It may simply mean that the purpose of that connection has been fulfilled. Accepting this truth allows for a greater sense of gratitude rather than regret. It shifts the focus from loss to appreciation, recognizing that every experience contributes to the journey of personal development. Growth also involves the ability to forgive. Holding on to resentment, anger, or bitterness only creates emotional stagnation. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior or forgetting past experiences. It means releasing the emotional weight associated with them. It is a decision to move forward without carrying the burden of negativity. Those who grow from their experiences understand that forgiveness is not just for the other person, it is for themselves. It is a way to free the heart and mind from the constraints of the past. The process of growth through distance ultimately leads to a stronger, more resilient version of oneself. Every challenge, every period of solitude, and every moment of reflection contributes to greater self-awareness and emotional strength. The absence of communication serves as a reminder that personal evolution is an ongoing journey. It reinforces the idea that true happiness and fulfillment come from within rather than from external relationships. Growth is not about forgetting the past, but about using it as a foundation for a wiser, more empowered future.